Greetings, YouTube. Danny Staten here on Date and Blog. Today I'm taking a look at UFO Encounters. UFO Encounters is a series of comic books from 1974 featuring all the current UFO encounters of the time. This book originally came out in 1968 and covered the UFO and Flying Saucers series of comic books. If you're familiar with the UFO and Flying Saucers series of comic books, you can find reviews for some UFOs and Flying Saucers comic books here on the Daily Dan blog. Check the playlist. And this special UFO Encounters book, I'm going to be giving away to a special friend of mine, a subscriber, a friend of mine. I subscribe to his channel, he subscribes to my channel, and we check each other's stuff out quite regularly. He's a good friend, and I'm going to send him this book. I hope he enjoys it. And we get some interesting black and white art inside the front cover. Oh, I guess it might be a black and white comic. I hope not. A list of all the UFO stories. You know, I may skip one or two of them, and there's quite a few to go through. Wow. As this giant comic book features 222 stories. I guess some of them might be one-page stories, but oh, good gracious. Oh, my. That's a lot of stories. So we better get started, right? As we check out the inside cover, which is just basically what you're going to be getting. So we're going to start off with the history of UFOs. We're going to see them back in Roman times. We're going to see them in Greek times. We're going to see them land and look really creepy and freak out ancient people. In 4 panels brought to you by the Daily Dan blog, we're going to see UFOs influence Mayan culture. We're going to see them become Aztec gods as they look like something from a Scooby-Doo comic book. We're going to see them blow Sodom and Gomorrah to dust. Flash forward, and we see them over Germany. We see them in the Middle Ages, and we see farmers chasing them. It moved on. And now they're in the cowboy times. And then they're at Farmer Jack's house. Remember this famous encounter where they bothered the farmers looking like this? Oh, that's horrible. A series of little one-page stories like Foo Fighters where American soldiers encountered strange lights over Japan in World War II. And then you get the flying saucer story, you know. Arnold guy, he sees some flying saucers. Then we're going to flash back and see old King Nebuchadnezzar talking about some UFOs or something back in the primeval days. Oh my goodness gracious. And then we're going to go through the castle days and it's jumping all over the place. These people in London seeing Halley's Comet or something over here thinking it's a UFO in 1798. Well, that's a good one though. Oh, and this is a famous story right out of UFO lore, right out of UFO history. This one I'm really famous with. The day they bust Washington. I bet Anthony over at Unidentified S4 could tell you this story better than me. Because back in, I believe it was 1954, they were giant discs sighted over Washington, D.C., and now it comes alive in comic book form in full panels brought to you by the Daily Dan blog. In this incredible 2-page story that shows all this action, look, here's some UFOs. Hey, we tracked them on radar. Hey, they flew over Washington. Hey, we chased them. Turn the page. Next story, here's a case of a scoutmaster who's, what the heck is comic book rolls? Here's a story of some scoutmasters who encountered a UFO. Hey, the scoutmaster's story's longer than 2 pages. That's a good thing, right? And called the sheriff, and they done talking about, we saw some, UFO-looking things going on, and they all talking about it, and they going out to investigate. They sent the police out there. They found some radioactive-looking glowing plants, and that bugged them out. And the UFO shot by behind them, and they was like, we missed it. And then we're going to take a multi-page look at life on other planets and what we theorized that these aliens might actually look like here today. This is the future that we have to deal with. These guys are coming. Okay, if this guy says so. By the way, is this supposed to be J. Allen Hynek? Here's a story called Operation Mainbrace. And we're going to be testing out our homemade UFOs. You know, reverse engineered stuff. And here's a really cool story where these little pygmy suckers invade South America. It was all over the news. It was a news flash. You can look it up on YouTube when these little Oh, what? Goat man, chupacabra looking things come flying out of space. Oh my God, that's it. It's the story of the chupacabras from space. Look at these little suckers. And they shooting laser beams and they're wearing Star Trek uniforms. And they might have doctored this up a little bit back in 1968. Them some mean little pygmy aliens, ain't they? Oh my goodness, wow. That just blows me away. Homie, break that gun over the alien's head. That's the way you handle an alien. They ran away in fear and they got back in their ship and they flew away. And nobody believed the kids. The only clue was a broken gun. And we move on to the incident in the park where them same little aliens flew over to the park. I guess they was getting around that weekend. I hate the way they do the aliens in this. Anthony S4, let me know what you think about the aliens in this. And this is a good time to give a shout out to my friend Eric over at Paranormal Highway. This is your kind of stuff, Eric. It's right out of one of your cartoons, right? Check out Eric at Paranormal Highway. As always, I want to give a shout out to my friend Dave Sunstorm over at The Good Stuff. That's right, Dave Sunstorm, king of the good stuff. And he'll probably be the only good stuff guy I shout out in this paranormal comic book review. As I'm digging aliens, I'm watching people encounter aliens. And I'm watching Panic in Loveland as the Loveland lights fly over and terrorize Loveland. Actually, the Loveland Lights, I believe it was in Texas, is a really famous UFO encounter, but I don't think it went down and showed it had no encounter that close to a UFO. I think the Loveland Lights were just some lights in the sky. Somebody said it was reflecting off birds, but I never believed that. I actually thought it was like military test craft. But here's the full story covered in this old comic book from 1968. Another famous story, Lana Zamora and the Socorro incident. That's where a UFO shaped like an egg landed in the desert, and this old cop saw it, and everybody believed him because he was a cop, and it's a famous tale. I mean, good gracious, here's what happened right here before your eyes. I was riding down the road, and I saw this weird thing, I thought it was a blast of light like an explosion at the old mine. I went over there and investigate. I saw this egg-shaped thing, and the egg-shaped thing had Mork running around outside of it. And Mork saw me, and he ran and jumped back in his egg, and then Mork flew away back to Ork. So after Mork went back to Ork and flew away in his egg, the other deputy showed up, and he was showing the other cop where it was sitting, and the ground was smoking, and there was indentations, and somebody else had an encounter similar over across the valley, so it might have been a real thing, even though the description was different. It ends with an investigation and some strange prints in the ground. Oh my goodness, it's modern types of UFOs. And you can check out all the modern types of UFOs in this incredibly cool comic book. They got them shaped like a spool. They got them shaped like a cigar. They got them ones shaped like saucers skipping across a pond that goofing that airplane chase named Kenneth Arnold. Yeah, and they got these cool ones down here. I guess that's supposed to be the Loveland Lights. And then you got this saucer, that saucer, this round disc thing, and my famous boomerang saucer. Wow. You got the famous Exeter. The sighting in the swamp. You know, dude was coming home from work one night walking. He saw some UFO flying over the swamp. He ran home, begged for help, telling everybody about it, called the police. It chased a woman down the road. It hovered over the town. It's the Exeter sighting. And then we get the really cool stuff. That's right, we get the stuff we made. This is our back-engineered UFO program. You can't get more cooler stuff than that in a comic book. You can see all the wonderful stuff that look like UFOs we invented, where they were made, who made them, and all the information concerning them that you can pause and read if you want to. I'm not reading all that stuff, not even for you guys. It's the Arrow car. I know about most of these things. I wonder if they're going to have that really cool one the Germans built in here. Yeah, I bet they won't cover that one. UFOs on the moon! I told you, I knew it all along. Them UFOs was on the moon. We're going to cover the story. When astronauts walked on the moon, when astronauts saw UFOs on the moon. And full panels brought to you by the Daddy Dan blog. I show you probably my favorite story of the bunch. That's right, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. They headed for the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, they're going to land on the moon in all their gold glory. And yes, Anton, yes, you flat earth goose, we went to the moon. The problem is, when we went to the moon, dude, walk, 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 what we found there. Wow. And finally, we're going to get to that big Mexican UFO flap where they was Mexican. Yeah, I mean, UFOs over Mexico back in 1960 something. Well, that was 50 something, wasn't it? 50 something. This was the first UFO flap, not the one they had in the 70s or 80s. This was the old one, you know, where they saw all them UFOs flying around. And I swear, this could have come right out of the modern day. It's back in 1968. And it's covering USOs when USOs dove in the water. When our Navy chased them. When our Navy chased them through Shag Harbor. When our Navy chased them through the oceans of the Atlantic. It's covering UFO submersibles. It's covering UFOs in the water. You would have thought this come out the paper yesterday. Yeah, it went in the water. We dived in the water. It's the Shag Harbor mystery. Yeah, look. And at the end, it dropped up out in the water and flew away, and we couldn't do nothing about it but chase it with our boats and planes. But it still got away. And no UFO book would be complete if we didn't find out about Russia's Kaputen Yar. That's right, their secret base where they're studying UFOs and using their Russian technology to try to track in full panels. Brought to you by Daddy Damn Dog. We found out back in '68 the government knew. The government knew that Russia was attracting UFOs. The government knew that that they were crashing UFOs and studying them in Kaputen Yar. They had found the Europa disk. They had got control of the Europa disk. They had learned how to manipulate the Europa disk and use the messages on it to attract these goofy aliens. And now they have one at Kaputen Yar. And here's my favorite story. And this is why I hate giving this book away. I truly hate giving a book away with snowmen from the sky. You know, a comic book that has Bigfoot, Yeti, coming from the sky. Yeah, I really hate to get rid of this book, but let me tell you why I can. Remember I told you earlier it was made from UFOs and flying saucers? That this book took other books? Check this out. From UFOs and flying saucers, number 2. Check it out. The same story exists in both comic books. So even though I'm giving this copy away, trust me, I still have the story in comic book form. As a matter of fact, pretty much all the stories I've showed you here I have in comic book form another way. Which makes it really cool when I can keep my comic book, one of my favorites here. I'm going to replace this one with a new copy and give this old copy away as soon as I can. But I get to tell the story and keep it. I have 2 copies, one to give away and one to keep. That's awesome, right, guys? Let me know in the comments below. Now, in full panels, back to the story after I get done babbling. Yeah, that's right. Bigfoot come from outer space. These 2 goofs are tracking him. I've told this story before. You can see my review for UFOs and flying saucers number 2. And hear me tell all about these Yetis from space being tracked by the goose. Yeah, they came from space. They got tracked. These goose are following the tracks. That's not a good idea. And it don't work out well for him as he gets the Jeff Harding treatment. You can see what else happened that you missed just now if you go back and watch my review for UFOs and flying saucers number 2 here on the Daily Damn Blog in the playlist. Yeah, I know I didn't skip like 50 stories, but I can't tell them all. It take 2 hours, and this camera don't hold that much space. Oh my goodness, here's the mystery of the monuments. That's right. All these monuments exist. They exist on our moon, and we don't know what they are. Monoliths, strange buildings, strange structures maybe. The moon is a mystery. The moon is the biggest mystery we will endure. Is it hollow? Does things live inside the moon? Is the moon a spaceship from another planet? Is the moon inhabited even now? These questions and many more answered in the pages of old comic books. And check out what lives on the moon. Cubert and his tribe. Look at them knotheads. Oh my God. Well, you know, I couldn't do a review here on the Daily Damn Blog without things going the wrong way. We're going to get to tell of the Mississippi mystery about them 2 fishing guys that got sucked up in a ship and lost some time. Yep, they were out fishing. Something came flying along. Bzzz. It was a saucer. They came down. They took them up. They gave them an anal probe. It's true. It didn't end well for these guys. So the aliens come down. They tried to run in fear, but they were captured. They were tormented. They were taken aboard the ship. Bad things happen on the ship. They woke up later as the ship buzzed off. George told Lou, he said, "My butt hurts." Oh. I'll take about all the time I can take on this. I'm going to end it with a special feature from the past as we look at the last page of this comic book where Ezekiel saw the will. And this is the will he said he saw. I should put a Star Trek ending thing. And Ezekiel became the first human in history to get an anal probe. Thanks for watching to the end. I appreciate it. And this is the end of this comic book. And I'll be sending this one out to a friend really soon. Look at that really cool back UFO Mysteries advertisement on the back cover. And we've got the really cool cover. I really dig this. I can't wait to send it to my friend, and I'm going to send it to Anthony over at S4 for everything he's done and being a really cool dude. I appreciate you, brother. And I hope you enjoyed this really cool comic book. You should be getting it in the mail really soon. Blog over, dudes. Blog over.